It was a quiet night in the small town of Elmswood. The stars above were shining like tiny lamps in the sky. Everything felt normal, calm, and peaceful. But something strange was about to happen. Eli was walking home from his part-time job at the diner. He was tired, his backpack heavy, and his mind full of boring thoughts. He never expected that tonight would change his life forever. Suddenly, the ground shook under his feet. A bright blue light flashed in the distance, lighting up the forest like daylight. Then came a loud boom, like thunder, but much closer. Eli stopped and looked toward the trees. Was that a crash? He whispered to himself. His heart started to race, but curiosity pulled him forward. He turned and began walking toward the forest. Every step felt heavier, but he couldn't stop. As he entered the woods, the air felt different, electric and cold. The smell of burning metal filled his nose. Then, through the trees, he saw something glowing. It was a large silver pod, half buried in the ground, steam rising from it. It didn't look like anything from Earth. Eli slowly moved closer. The pod opened with a soft hiss. Inside, a figure was lying still, not human, but not scary. It was a girl, tall and glowing faintly, with silver hair and skin like soft light. She opened her eyes, bright and deep, looking straight at Eli. He froze. Not knowing what to say or do, the girl sat up and smiled slightly. Then she said, in clear English, "Everyone wants me, but I want you, human." Eli blinked, confused. "Me?" he asked, pointing to himself. She nodded, her voice calm. "You were the first to come, the only one without fear." Before Eli could speak again, a sound came from behind the trees. Footsteps, heavy and fast. He turned around quickly. 3 men in black suits were walking toward the crash site. They had strange devices in their hands, scanning the area. Eli grabbed the girl's hand and whispered, "We need to go, now." She stood without a word and followed him. They ran back through the forest, the lights of the men's scanners chasing them. Branches snapped under their feet. Leaves brushed their faces. Eli didn't stop until they reached an old cabin near the edge of town. The cabin belonged to Eli's grandfather, empty for years. He unlocked the door and helped her inside. She looked around, touching the wood, the books, the old radio. "Is this your home?" she asked softly. "It was my grandpa's," Eli replied. "Safe for now." He sat down, catching his breath. "What's your name?" he asked. "Zira," she said. "I come from a world far away. I escaped from those who wanted to control me." "Why me?" Eli asked, still trying to understand. Zira looked at him with a quiet smile. "Because you are kind, and you came alone. You didn't bring weapons or fear." Eli didn't know what to say. Everything felt like a dream, or maybe a nightmare. But something about Zira felt real. She didn't feel dangerous. She felt lost and strong at the same time. Outside, a black van drove past slowly. Inside were the men in suits, talking into radios. One of them said, "We lost her, but the energy trail ends near this area." Back in the cabin, Zira touched her necklace. It glowed softly, showing a map in the air, stars, planets, and strange symbols floated between them. Eli stared in awe. "What is that?" "My galaxy," she replied. "And the people who want to take me back." Eli felt a chill. He realized this was bigger than anything he had ever known. Bigger than his quiet life, his small town, and his dreams, and now he was a part of it. Zira looked at him and said, "They will come again, stronger and faster. But I will not leave, not without a fight." Eli nodded slowly. Then he whispered, "I guess we fight together." The light in her necklace dimmed, and for a moment, all was silent. But outside the window, in the dark trees, red eyes were watching, waiting. Asterisk. The night was not over yet, while Eli and Zira sat in the old cabin. The stars above moved strangely. One star blinked, then vanished, somewhere beyond Earth. Something else had noticed Zira's arrival, and it was coming fast. Inside the cabin, Zira stood by the window, her eyes glowing faintly. She didn't blink. She was listening to something Eli could not hear, a voice in her head, or maybe a warning. Eli walked over, holding a blanket and a cup of tea. "This might help," he said awkwardly. She smiled, touched the warm cup, and whispered, "This is peaceful." But peace never stays long. Far away, in a dark desert, another pod crashed, black and sharp like a blade. From it stepped a creature, not beautiful like Zira, but tall, armored, and angry. It looked around, sniffing the air, then it growled. One word, Zira. Back in the cabin, Zira suddenly grabbed her head. She fell to her knees, her body shaking. Eli rushed to her side. "Zira, what's wrong?" She looked up, eyes wide with fear. "He found me." "Who?" Eli asked. "My hunter," she replied. "He is from my world, sent to bring me back, dead or alive." Eli's heart dropped. "You said you escaped." "I did," she said. "But I'm not alone anymore, not here." Zira stood, her body glowing again. She placed her hand on the wooden wall, and a glowing circle appeared. Inside it, images moved like a living story. Eli saw strange creatures, glowing cities, war, and fire. Zira pointed to one figure, tall and armored. "That is Kale, my hunter. He believes I stole something powerful." Eli looked confused. "Did you steal it?" Zira paused. "I didn't steal it, I became it." Suddenly, the radio in the cabin came alive. A voice spoke in static. "Unknown object, ... entering, ... perimeter, ... north zone, ... repeat, ... Eli and Zira looked at each other. "He's here," she said. They grabbed a flashlight and quietly left the cabin. The forest outside was colder than before. Mist crawled along the ground, hiding the trees like ghosts. Zira's hand glowed softly, lighting their path. Eli held her wrist tightly, afraid but ready. Then they saw it. A shadow moving fast between the trees, not walking, gliding, like smoke in the wind. Eli turned off the flashlight. "Don't move," Zira whispered. Kale appeared from the darkness. His eyes glowed red, and his body shimmered with black energy. He looked around, sniffed the air, and growled, "I know you're here, Zira. Come with me, and I'll make your end quick." Zira stepped forward. Eli tried to stop her, but she shook her head. "I must face him," she said, "or he will never stop." Kale smiled. "So the little queen chooses to die here, on a dirty planet." Zira raised her hand, a blue light forming. "I don't bow to kings anymore." They clashed. Blue light and black smoke struck in the middle of the forest. Trees cracked, the earth shook, and birds flew in every direction. Eli watched from behind a rock, helpless but amazed. This was not a fight. It was a storm. Kale was powerful, but Zira was faster. She danced like lightning, each move sharp and perfect. But Kale was not alone. Two more shadows dropped from the trees. They looked like Kale, hunters from her world. Zira gasped. "No, not them too." Eli stood, grabbed a broken branch, and ran forward. He didn't know what he was doing, but he couldn't just watch her fall. He struck one of the shadows, surprising it for a second. That second was enough. Zira blasted the ground, light exploding everywhere. Kale and the others vanished into smoke. For now Zira fell to the ground, weak and pale. Eli ran to her and held her up. "You're hurt. I'll be fine," she whispered. "But they know now. They know I care about you." Eli looked at her, heart racing. "Why do you care about me?" Zira closed her eyes. "Because you make me feel human." Suddenly, a noise came from behind. A figure stepped out. But it was not a hunter. It was a young woman in a lab coat, holding a scanner. She looked at Zira, then at Eli, and said, "You two need to come with me now, before it's too late." The wind carried the smell of burnt air and broken trees. High above, clouds gathered unnaturally fast, circling the sky like a watchful eye. Somewhere deep in a secret government base, red alarms began flashing. The scanners had detected something, or someone, moving too fast to be human. Back in the forest, Eli stood frozen. The woman in the lab coat stared at him with calm but serious eyes. You need to come with me, she repeated. They're regrouping, and they won't wait long. Zira, still weak from the fight, looked at the woman carefully. You are not military, she said. No, the woman replied. But I know what's coming, and I'm your only chance to survive. Eli didn't know whether to run or follow, but when the ground behind him rumbled, and a tree split in half by an invisible force, he knew running was useless now. He helped Zira up, and together they followed the stranger deeper into the woods. The woman led them to a hidden vehicle, sleek and silent, unlike anything Eli had seen before. It looked human, but somehow alien too. Zira paused before getting in. What is this? Hybrid tech, the woman said. Your arrival wasn't the first, just the loudest. The car moved silently across dirt roads, dodging cameras and heat sensors. Inside, Zira rested her head on Eli's shoulder. She was breathing deeply, her light dimmer than before. Eli whispered, "Will she be okay?" The woman glanced at him through the mirror. Only if we stay ahead of them. Meanwhile, miles away, Cale stood on top of a broken satellite dish. His red eyes scanned the earth below, behind him. The two hunters he brought snarled with rage. She is protected by humans, one growled. Cale's voice was cold. She is weak now. But the bond has started. That's what makes her dangerous. In the moving car, the woman began speaking. My name is Dr. Rhea Lane. I work with a group that watches the skies. Like NASA? Eli asked. Like ghosts, she replied. We deal with threats the world isn't ready to face. She showed them a small device, a cube with spinning lights. This is a tracker, she said. Every alien object sends signals. This one was different. It wasn't just tech, it was alive. Zira opened her eyes. They will follow this signal. Always, Dr. Rhea nodded. That's why we have to erase it. Eli looked outside. The road had changed. Now it led into a tunnel hidden under a mountain. As the gate opened, he saw guards with silver weapons, drones scanning everything. Where are we? Sanctum 9, Rhea said. The only place they can't reach. Yet, inside, the air felt colder, the walls humming with strange energy. Zira stepped out slowly, still weak, but more alert. People in white suits stared at her with fear and wonder. She looked at Eli and said, They see me like I'm a thing. Not a person. You're not a thing, Eli said. You're Zira. She smiled softly. They were taken to a round room with a glass floor. Underneath, a glowing core pulsed like a heartbeat. This is where we remove the signal, Rhea said. But it will hurt. And it might not work, Zira nodded. Stepped into the chamber and closed her eyes. Machines around her began to move. Light circling her body like a storm. Her eyes opened wide in pain. Her hands shaking, Eli wanted to rush in, but Rhea held him back. If you interrupt the process, she could die. Then something went wrong. The lights turned red, the machines cracked, and the core flickered. Power drain. Someone shouted, "External hack detected." Another voice yelled, on a screen. Cale's face appeared. You think hiding underground makes you safe? He growled, I see you, Zira, and I see your little human. Zira screamed. The pain too much. The machines exploded, and the signal transfer backfired. Zira collapsed, unconscious. Alarms echoed across Sanctum 9. Drones dropped from the ceiling, systems failing one by one. Eli held Zira in his arms, shaking her gently. Please wake up, please. Rhea turned to Eli, her face pale. They're inside the system. If we stay, we die. A loud crash shook the base. Cale had arrived, not as a signal, but in flesh and power. Rhea opened a secret passage. This way now. Eli picked up Zira and ran into the dark tunnel behind them. Cale's voice echoed through the broken base. You can run, human, but she belongs to me. Asterisk darkness surrounded them. The tunnel behind had collapsed, and the walls ahead were glowing faintly blue. Eli held Zira close, her body still and cold. Dr. Rhea moved fast, opening hidden doors with her wrist device. "This emergency tunnel leads to the old launch chamber," she said. "We'll be safe there for now." But Eli wasn't listening. He was looking at Zira, afraid she might not wake up. Her skin was dim, her breath shallow. He whispered, "Come on, Zira, stay with me." Rhea stopped beside an old vault door. She pressed her hand against it, and the lock opened with a hiss. The room inside looked ancient, filled with dust, old machines and forgotten screens. "This place was built for space missions we never launched," she said. "But it's perfect to hide." Eli placed Zira gently on a soft bench. Then something strange happened. Her necklace, silent until now, lit up with a slow, pulsing red. A circle of light floated above her chest, showing flickering images, not just images, memories. Eli leaned in, watching. He saw stars, ships, and a glowing planet torn by war. Then he saw Zira, standing before a crowd of aliens, her face proud and strong. A voice echoed from the memory. "She is the key, the last of the line. Protect her at all costs." Rhea stepped back, shocked. "She's not just a refugee," she said. "She's royalty." Zira opened her eyes, slowly. She sat up, weak but awake. "I didn't want you to see that," she said to Eli. "But you had to know." Eli looked confused. "You're a princess?" Zira nodded. "Yes, but more than that, I was born to control something dangerous, something even I don't fully understand." Rhea stared at her. "You are the carrier." Zira nodded again. "I hold a piece of the origin core, the first energy source in our galaxy. That's why Kale hunts me." Ellie stepped back. "You said you wanted me, not because of power, but because I was kind." Zira stood, took his hand. "That was true," she said. "But there's something else too." She turned her eyes to Rhea. "Earth has something. The other worlds lost choice. On my planet, everything is decided before we are born." Eli asked softly, "What did you choose?" Zira looked at him. "I chose to run, not to rule." Rhea interrupted. "We don't have much time. Kale will find this place too." But Zira's face had changed, no longer weak but sharp and focused. "No," she said. "I will find him first." Eli was shocked. "You're going after him?" "I must," Zira said, "because he won't stop until one of us is gone." Zira touched the wall, and her light spread like a ripple. Old systems came to life, screens lit up, and a hidden panel opened. Inside was a suit, sleek, black, glowing with blue veins of energy. This was meant for Earth's first space soldier. Rhea said, surprised. Zira stepped into the suit, and it adjusted to her body like it was made for her. "Now it's mine," she whispered. Suddenly, the room shook. From above, an explosion echoed down the tunnels. Rhea checked the scanner. "He's here." Zira turned to Eli. "Stay here, I will stop him." But Eli grabbed her arm. "No, not alone." Zira's face softened. "I'm not used to people fighting beside me." Eli smiled. "Get used to it." They opened the upper hatch and climbed into the destroyed Sanctum 9. Smoke covered everything, walls broken, lights flickering. Kale stood in the center, his hunters beside him. His voice echoed, "You finally show yourself." "Little queen." Zira stepped forward, her suit glowing. "I'm not your queen. I'm your end." Kale laughed. "You were born to protect the core, but now you protect a human. You are weak." Zira raised her hand. Blue lightning burst from her palm, striking the ground at Kale's feet. He dodged, fast as wind, and launched black fire toward her. They clashed again, power against power, light against darkness. Eli found a weapon left behind by the agents, a plasma blade. He didn't know how to use it, but he knew he had to try. He charged toward one of the hunters, yelling, "Leave her alone." The battle turned wild. Rhea activated emergency defenses, and the room filled with flashing lights and barrier walls. Zira and Kale were locked in a one-on-one fight. Every move shook the ground, every blast broke steel. Then Kale struck her hard and Zira fell. He raised his hand to finish it. Eli screamed, "Nitrogen monoxide!" And something strange happened. The light from Zira's necklace moved, not toward her, but into Eli. He glowed, eyes wide, and Kale stepped back in shock. What is this? Zira looked up, surprised. You ... Connected with the core. She whispered. Eli stood tall, glowing. Then let's finish this together. Lightning crawled across the sky, above the ruins of Sanctum 9. Clouds swirled like a giant storm watching the world below. Two figures stood in the center of destruction, glowing, breathing hard, and surrounded by smoke. Zira and Eli, now connected by the core, faced Kale, and he wasn't smiling anymore. The power inside Eli pulsed like a second heartbeat. He didn't understand it, but he felt everything. Zira's pain, her past, her fear, and something else, something beautiful. He looked at her, and she looked back. No words were needed. Kale growled. You merged the core with a human. Zira raised her hand. I didn't plan it. Kale stepped forward. Then you are weak. Before he could strike again, a blast of light knocked him backward. It wasn't from Zira, it came from Eli. Zira's eyes widened. You're learning fast. Eli laughed nervously. I have no idea what I'm doing. Kale vanished into a cloud of black smoke. Zira fell to her knees, tired. Eli ran to her. Are you okay? She nodded slowly. For now. Ria's voice came through a broken speaker nearby. Get to the sky tunnel. I'm opening the upper gate. Zira and Eli moved quickly, stepping into a lift that rose through the destroyed levels of the base. Above them, the ceiling opened, revealing the night sky, but the stars had changed. A giant ship hovered over the earth, silent but powerful. Zira's face turned pale. That's not Kale's ship. Then whose is it? Eli asked. Zira whispered, my people. The ship sent down a single beam of light. A figure floated down, not in armor, not with weapons. It was a woman, calm and glowing gold. Zira stepped forward. Mother. Eli looked shocked. Wait, that's your mom? Zira didn't answer. The woman spoke in a soft voice that echoed everywhere. Zira, child of Solari, return with us. The war is over. The core belongs at home. Zira stayed silent. The woman looked at Eli. You do not belong in this. But Eli stepped closer to Zira and said, she does. The woman's smile faded. You connected with the core. That bond is forbidden. Zira turned to Eli, her heart heavy. If I go with them, you'll be safe. Eli shook his head. I don't want safe, I want you. She looked into his eyes, and in that moment, two worlds pulled her apart. One world was full of stars, order, and history. The other was full of chaos, danger, and one simple thing, choice. Zira turned to her mother. I made a choice. You were not allowed to choose, her mother said. Then I'm no longer one of you, Zira replied. The woman's eyes changed, full of sadness, but also anger. So be it. Suddenly the sky darkened again. Kale's voice thundered from above. You argued too long. He reappeared. Stronger, glowing with stolen energy. He had taken control of the ship's systems and locked on Earth. Kale raised his arms. A beam shot from the ship toward the planet's surface. If I can't have the core, no one will, Zira screamed. No! She flew into the air, trying to stop the beam, but the energy was too strong. She was being pulled apart, piece by piece. Eli looked up, then at the broken core necklace in his hand. He felt it, the answer. He jumped toward her, and the core lit up again, surrounding them in light. Together, they blocked the beam. But it came with a price. The core shattered, and the light disappeared. They fell, landing hard on the ground. Everything was silent. Smoke faded. Kale was gone. The ship had vanished, but so had something else. The energy. Zira lay still. Eli crawled to her. Zira? She opened her eyes slowly. I can't feel the stars anymore. You're human now, Ria said, walking toward them. Zira looked at her hands. She didn't glow, didn't float, didn't feel the core. She looked at Eli. Then I want to stay here, Eli smiled. Good. Because I want you here too. But just as they rested in each other's arms, far above, in the shadow of a distant moon, another ship opened its eyes. A new voice whispered, "They broke the core, the balance is lost." The true threat hadn't started yet, it was only beginning. Asterisk space was quiet, but something had awakened. Far beyond Earth's moon, a silent black ship drifted through the dark. It had no windows, no lights, no name. Inside it, ancient voices whispered, "They have broken the core. The balance is undone. It is time." 100 eyes opened in the dark, and the ship turned toward Earth, back on Earth. The sky had returned to normal, blue clouds, sunlight, and soft wind. But peace is only calm before the storm. Eli sat on the rooftop of Sanctum 9, looking at the world below. Zira sat beside him, quiet. She was different now, no glowing skin, no floating powers, she was human. "I don't feel special anymore," she said. Eli looked at her. "You don't need light to shine." She smiled, but there was sadness behind it. "I gave up my world," she whispered. "For this." Suddenly, Rhea ran up the stairs out of breath. "We have a problem," she said. She showed them a hologram, a black ship, large and slow, moving toward Earth. "This isn't Kale. This is something older." Zira stood up. "No," she said. "This is the Council of Balance." Eli looked confused. "Council?" "They were the first to create the core," Zira explained. "They exist to keep balance in the galaxy. But now they believe Earth is the problem," Rhea added. "They've sent judgment ships to destroy unstable worlds before." Eli asked, "Why us?" Zira's voice cracked. "Because I chose love over duty." They had little time. Rhea began gathering every working piece of tech, old weapons, broken drones, energy shields. "We'll make a defense," she said, "even if it won't last long." Eli helped, building barriers and setting traps. He moved like someone who had trained for this, even though he hadn't. Zira watched him and realized something. "The core didn't just enter you," she said. "It changed you." Eli paused. "Good or bad?" Zira smiled. "Very good." Night came, and with it, the black ship entered the sky. No warning, no sound, just a shadow that covered the stars. Then came the first beam. It struck the ocean, turning waves to steam. The world woke up to fear. Governments called it a meteor, but Zira knew better. "They're cleansing," she said. One test strike before the final wave. The countdown had begun. 6 hours before Earth would be erased. Rhea unlocked the last chamber of Sanctum 9. Inside was something forgotten, a prototype starfighter. "Never tested, but it's our only shot," she said. Zira looked at Eli. "We fly together." They entered the fighter, Zira as the guide, Eli as the pilot. It launched into the sky like a scream, breaking through clouds and into space. As they neared the black ship, voices filled the cockpit. "You have broken the law of balance, brought power to the weak. You must be removed," Zira spoke calmly. "No law is greater than choice." They reached the surface of the black ship. No weapons outside, only silence. They entered a glowing tunnel. Inside, rows of beings stood, not dead, but not alive. Like statues holding memory, a voice spoke. "Again, return the core, and Earth will be spared." Eli looked at Zira. "We don't have the core." Zira took his hand. "Yes, we do." Suddenly, her necklace glowed again. A small piece of the core had survived. Inside her heart, the council saw it, and the room darkened. "You stole eternity," they said. Zira stepped forward. "No, I freed it." The ship shook. Lights blinked red. A countdown began, not for Earth's destruction, but for the core's erasure. If it was lost, nothing could stop the next war. Eli made a choice. He took the shard and placed it into the fighter's core. "What are you doing?" Zira shouted. "Giving it back in our way," he said. The ship began to change. The core fused with Earth tech, creating something new, not alien, not human, but both. The fighter exploded in light, sending a signal across space. The council froze. They didn't understand what had just happened. Balance hadn't been broken. It had been reborn. One by one, the statues lowered their heads. The countdown stopped. The ship began to disappear. Zira floated with Eli in the center of the light. You risked everything, she said. Eli smiled. For you. And then, everything went white. Light, that's all Eli could see. Not bright or blinding, just endless light. And in that light, silence. He wasn't standing, but he wasn't falling either. There was no ground, no sky, no ship. Just him and Zira. She floated beside him. Eyes closed, body glowing again, not as before, but brighter, purer. The last shard of the core inside her had awakened fully. A voice spoke, not from the outside, but from within them both. This is the crosspoint, it said. A moment. Between moments. A breath between worlds. Eli didn't understand. He looked at Zira. Are we alive? Zira opened her eyes and whispered, Not yet. Then the voice spoke again. You have a choice. One of you will return. One of you will become the light. Zira's face changed. I know this place, she said. The Guardians. Call it the Mirror Realm, where the price of power is paid. Eli shook his head. No, we saved Earth. We did everything right, the voice answered. You gave birth to a new balance, but balance demands cost. Zira turned to him. If one of us stays here, the other can live a full life. Eli grabbed her hand. No, we do this together. But the light pulsed again. Time was running. Out. Zira smiled softly. You changed everything, Eli. You gave me choice, love, a reason to fight. I don't want to lose you, Eli said. You didn't, she replied. You found me, then. Something strange happened. Zira's light moved into Eli's hand. Her necklace, now glowing white, floated between them. It spun. Slowly, then stopped. Eli realized what she was doing. No, he said. Don't choose for me. Zira leaned close and whispered. I'm not choosing death. I'm choosing purpose. With a final breath, she stepped into the heart of the light. Her body dissolved like stars. The necklace dropped into Eli's palm. The light disappeared, and he woke up. Earth. 1 week later, the sky was clear. The black ship had vanished. The world was quiet. People believed it was a dream, or a freak storm, or a secret weapon test. But Eli knew better. He stood on a hill, holding the necklace. Every time it pulsed, he felt her, somewhere in the stars. She wasn't gone, not really. Dr. Rio walked beside him. They offered you a job, she said. Eli nodded. I said no. Why? He looked at the sky. Because I already have a mission. He opened a small case, revealing a tiny silver disc, part of Zira's old tech. I'm going to finish what she started, he said. I'm going to find the others like her. Rhea smiled. You really believe there are more? I don't believe, Eli replied. I know. Meanwhile, deep space inside the Mirror Realm. A glowing figure moved through stars that weren't stars. She was no longer bound by body. Zira had become something new, a guardian of balance. She watched over worlds, over life, over choices, and sometimes, when Earth's sky was clear, a single silver blue star would blink once, then disappear, and somewhere Eli would smile, because he knew she was still with him.